Love it. Brendan King, Jimmy Cook, Eddie Garrison around the horn on a Friday afternoon. Feast week is done. The holiday season in college hoops is on the way. It is a joy and a pleasure to bring on the head coach of the Ball State Cardinals, Michael Lewis, on the guest line, brought to you by the Mower Shop in Fishers and themowershop.com for all your snow blowers, commercial and residential mowers, plus service and power tools. Coach Lou, good to talk to you, man. It's Brendan. I was actually a student at Butler when you were assistant back in the day. It's great to talk to you again. I have to imagine one thing, though, Coach. Coming from UCLA to Ball State, you're going to need an extra layer most of the time in Muncie as opposed to LA.
I tell you what, it's amazing how quickly I got used to that weather out there. So it's a little different waking up in the dark than that bright sunshine of Los Angeles. But couldn't be happier to be back here in Indiana and Muncie and leading this Ball State program.
Coach, it's Jimmy. Thanks again for making time for us. Most recently, you guys stomped on Eastern Illinois 76-59, the final earlier this week. A big outing, career high outing, in fact, for Mickey Pearson. What'd you see from your group in that as they prepare for a tough test against Evansville tomorrow?
Well, just anytime like winning games in college basketball is really difficult to begin with, and it just gets a little bit harder when you get on the road, and that was our fifth consecutive game away from Worthen Arena. So we cover some miles. We've been in the Bahamas. We'd been out to Pittsburgh. We'd lost 2 consecutive games on buzzer beating shots, and so I was not real pleased with our effort to start with. But we made some quick substitutions. You mentioned Mickey and Luke Bumbalough gave us a spark. I thought really energized us in the first half and put us in a position to take a lead. And once we did that, it was kind of on from there on. But we executed well. Offensively, we've got to continue to improve on the defensive end of the floor for us to become the team that we want to be.
The head coach of the Ball State Cardinals, Michael Lewis, is with us. Yeah, Coach Lee, last time you were at home on November 19th against IU South Bend, so it'll be good to get some home cooking against Evansville tomorrow. Then the Indy Classic coming up here at Gamebridge Fieldhouse on December the 17th. That's next Saturday against Illinois State and head coach Ryan Peden. Coach, I guess when you take the job at Ball State, anytime that there's a new situation, I'm sure there were goals that were laid out. So anything specific, Coach, that you tried to embark on when you first got the job that you've been pleased with now through the first portion of the season?
Well, I think just trying to play smarter, more consistent basketball, and I believe in toughness. I believe in disciplined basketball on both ends of the floor, and I want to give our guys an outline on how to play, and then give them the freedom to play within that outline. And I think our guys are starting to figure that out. Our offensive numbers, knock on wood, are pretty good. I think we're doing a much better job of shot selection and sharing the basketball and making the easy basketball play. What I'm most concerned with is developing a consistency on the defensive end, and I think a lot of it, it starts with a little want to. You got to want to defend. You got to want to block out. You've got to, you got to want to embrace the difficult things throughout a possession and throughout a game. And I don't think we're quite there yet. And the numbers support that. So we've got to continue to improve on that end. But this has been a good group to work with. There's been a lot of change that they've had to deal with. I think for the most part they've embraced that. They've given us a pretty good effort all around. And when you could get a coach basketball and not effort, then you've got an opportunity to grow as a team. And I think that's what we're seeing. They've come a long way. Now, big picture, we've got a long way to go, not only for our team in particular this year, but for our program as a whole. But these guys are giving us what they got, and I appreciate that.
Ball State head coach Michael Lewis, nice enough to take some time with us today here on the Mower Shop in Fishers, mowershop.com hotline. Coach, I know that your group are not overlooking Evansville, but as just a consumer, I have the luxury of being able to look ahead. And as Brendan mentioned, with the Indy Classic coming up, it's always a rich tradition to have big events, particularly on the hardwood in this city. Crossroads Classic, obviously no longer here. In comes the Indy Classic, yourselves, Purdue will be there, Illinois State, and Davidson. What does it mean to Ball State as a whole and to your program as you're establishing and rebuilding Ball State to be a part of a signature event that the city of Indianapolis is putting on?
I think it's it's great for our university. It's really good for our basketball program. Our largest population of alumni live in the Indianapolis area, so we're hoping for a good turnout of Cardinal fans. It's one of the reasons I wanted to be a part of this is to bring our team to Indianapolis, where our alumni are, and give them an opportunity to come out and watch us play. Then to have the opportunity to play in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. It's a great environment to play on a Saturday afternoon in mid-December in that facility. Like, obviously, I got great memories of the Crossroads Classic. We had a pretty good record there while I was at Butler, and it was a ton of fun. And when you get to play in that type of environment, a multi-game thing, it kind of gives you a tournament type atmosphere. And I'm just excited for our team and our university and our program and our alumni to have an opportunity to be a part of that, because it's a special time to walk out there on a Saturday afternoon in downtown Indianapolis.
Yeah, Coach, the Crossroads Classic record at Butler made it easy for me to help lead the student section for sure. But you mentioned you played 3 games in 3 days in the Bahamas, and never an easy task. By the end of it, I think everybody's gassed, no matter how fit you are. But you play Vermont, Missouri State, and San Jose State. But just looking back on it, how beneficial is Feast Week and playing all those games in a matter of 72 hours for sort of that self-critique after, and having so much tape on yourself and others of seeing what you have to work on?
Yeah, you get an option. You learn a lot about yourself in a short period of time, and I think I would have loved to come out of that tournament with one more win, but I think what our guys showed me is a willingness to fight, a willingness to compete that I wasn't sure that we had heading into that tournament. So that was encouraging. The 3 games in 3 days, I think it's a great opportunity. Like I told our guys, listen, if we get this program where we all want it to be, you've got to do this exact thing and win 3 games in a row to go to an NCAA tournament. So I think for our teams in our league or similar leagues like us, where you've got to go and win 3 games in 3 days, it's a really good experience to have that early in the season. And like I said, we learned a lot about ourselves, and I wish we'd have got one more win, but I was encouraged with our willingness to put ourselves out there and fight and compete, and we just got to continue to grow from that. We learned a lot of things, both offensively and defensively, and good and bad, coming out of that trip, and we've been able to work on some of those things and grow as a team.
Coach, building off of that and Brendan's question of what you've learned about your group, I'm sure, I don't want to presume what your goals were in your first season at the helm of Ball State.
My goals are very simple. Just win, and develop a program that this university is proud of, that the community is proud of, and like basketball is king in Indiana, and I think Indiana deserves to have good basketball teams, and we certainly want to be one of those. But I think if your main goal is to win, to do that, you have to do a bunch of little things that lead up to winning. There's a lot more to winning than just when the ball goes up like tomorrow afternoon. And so I want to establish a program, and my goals are to do all the things that it takes, that it's necessary to lead into having a winning program, because like I said, the school deserves it, our community deserves it, and the state deserves it.
What's the biggest thing you've learned from this group for why they could capture the MAC in your first year?
Well, I like their willingness to compete. I think their buy-in, they're wanting to win and to continue to put themselves out there. The 2 buzzer-beating losses are difficult, and for them to come back and play and find a way to win on the road is encouraging. But we're still learning how to win, and to do that, you got to continue to throw yourself in the fire, and you learn from those. Those are really difficult things to simulate in practice, and the more times you put yourself in those situations, you can learn from each one, and when you get that thing to flip, it can really snowball. I've shared the story with our group about when we took over at UCLA in the first year. I think we were 8-9 and had just lost by 15 at home to an average Stanford team on January 15th. And something clicked in our team. We started having success. We won 12 out of 14 and played for the Pac-12 championship right before COVID. So it happens at different times throughout the year for different teams. And when does it click? But I just want our guys to really focus and concentrate and have a very determined effort to be able to compete. And to do that, you have to have the willingness to prepare. Like today's practice for us this morning was really important. We had a late travel coming back. We didn't get to do much yesterday, so we had to be really focused in this morning to have the ability to compete at the level that we need to tomorrow. And I was pretty pleased with what we got done this morning.
The head coach of the Ball State Cardinals, Michael Lewis, with us on the guest line, brought to you by the Mower Shop in Fishers and themowershop.com. Coach, something you mentioned a couple answers ago was Indiana deserving good basketball teams, and for yourself, playing at Jasper, growing up in Jasper, the playing career that you had, all the stops you've had in your career, and again, I know your sole focus right now is the Ball State Cardinals and what's happening in Muncie, but I guess just for you as a native Hoosier and growing up around this state in basketball, how much does it mean to you that really basketball around this state, many teams are playing well, a lot of programs are back, and it's a great time to be a fan of college basketball here in the state?
It's exactly, I think we're moving in the right direction, and I think you've got, it's what the state deserves. At whatever level. I think obviously you get Indiana and Purdue, Notre Dame playing good basketball. Then it's got to trickle down to us and Ball State and Indiana State. Like there's a lot of talented players. There's good high school coaches. There's great AAU programs. People that are doing this for the right reasons. And the coaching within our state is at a high level, and so you're getting college-ready players when they get to you that have been well coached. And basketball is just too important to the people of the state, and they deserve the right to watch good college basketball. And we just want to make sure that we're doing our part to put a good product on the floor here at Ball State.
Coach, last thing from me. So you're coming back to Indy next weekend for the Indy Classic, and probably the last time you coached here, one of the last times, of course, was the NCAA tournament bubble of 2021, and what an experience that was.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, man, what an experience for everybody involved, but especially you guys making it as far as you did. I know it ended on kind of the exclamation point for the opponent, but just your memories, I guess, of that bubble and how unique that was, because really it was a one-of-a-kind thing that is never going to happen again, probably.
Well, let's hope the COVID, we never experienced something like that. What my experience is something that drives me every day. Like once you get that feeling of being a part of a Final Four, like, it's like a draw. I need it again. I want to do it again. And you want to chase it. My memories on that, man, it was, I remember room 945 of the downtown Marriott. I can probably tell you every square inch of that thing. I was in that room for 3 consecutive weeks. Wow. They cleaned our room for us once a week. If you advanced, they came in and cleaned. There was no hotel workers, no hotel staff in the entire place. And because of all the COVID rules, but it was cool to be a part of a team that after we got past that first 4 game and came back and found a way to beat Michigan State, we got on a roll and guys were playing at a high level, making shots at a high level, and we were able to beat a good BYU team. And then we kind of caught a break and played a lesser opponent, and then got in and were able to beat Alabama and Michigan and go in and be a part of a Final Four and really probably one of the top 5 games of NCAA tournament history. And it just didn't go our way, but you put yourself in that position to have an opportunity to win and to really truly compete for a national championship. And I'm sitting here in my office. I'm looking. I got some shelves here in the office. We're kind of redecorating some stuff, and I can look across and I see some of the memorabilia in the Final Four ring, and just the memories of being around that team and their competitiveness and how they came together at the right time. It's a special trip.
Special trip, special group, and a special tournament for sure. I mean, I was in studio the night of that Gonzaga-UCLA game. To say the least, there was no work getting done. I mean, that was an unbelievable game.
The unfortunate thing is I've got to watch that shot for probably the next 30 years. Like it's going to be it's going to be like the Leitner shot. They just show it over and over and over. But what a high high-level college basketball game that was.
Man, no doubt. Michael Lewis, the head coach of the Ball State Cardinals. Coach Lou, best of luck against Evansville tomorrow, and we'll see you next weekend for the Indy Classic.
All right, sounds good, man. Thanks.
Michael Lewis, the head coach of the Ball State Cardinals, a terrific dude who has had many stops in his basketball career, player, assistant coach, and now the head man in Muncie. He's on the guest line, brought to you by the Mower Shop in Fishers and themowershop.com for all your snow blowers, commercial and residential mowers, plus service and power tools. I'm Brendan King. That's Jimmy Cook. Eddie Garrison is on the ones and twos.